Difficulty in video games is probably always going to be one of the most divisive topics amongst gamers, next to microtransactions and titties. I'm not here to talk about difficulty in games and whether games should have difficulty sliders or not. Hell, I'm the type that whenever a game asks what difficulty I should play, I more often than not select the difficulty that the game suggests, or I pick normal or easy mode. So I ain't out here to slut shame anyone on how they like to have fun with their games. All I want to do today is show you how you can beat hard video games. I suck hard at video games, and I'm able to beat some hard video games. I've beaten all 3 Dark Souls games, I've beaten Bloodborne and Lies of P, I've beat Elden Ring and the DLC, I've beat Celeste, I've beat Hollow Knight and Silksong, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. I've beaten some old video games that are hard just because they are old. Jet Force Gemini, Crash Bandicoot, Pac-Man World 2, believe it or not, has some freaking hard levels. I recently beat a game called Blinx the Time Sweeper, which was so frustratingly hard and I about lost my tits. But I beat it. Like I already said, I'm not the master of gaming, and I'm honestly pretty average when it comes to skill level, and yet I can beat some of these hard games. If I can do it, anyone can. It just takes time, patience, and the ability to learn how to play the game. I've seen tons of videos, read tons of comments, and seen all the bitching about hard video games. Well, I'm here to make the argument that these single-player difficult games are way easier than any competitive online game out there. When playing in online games, you are playing against other players, real humans that can adapt on the fly to your playstyle and counter you. If you're sniping as Widow in Overwatch, chances are someone will start sniping back, or they'll switch to a character that counters you. Maybe they know the map and angles far better than you do, or maybe they're just straight up a better shot. The point I want to drive home here is in online multiplayer games, there are way more variables that you have to respond and adapt to than compared to single-player difficult games where you are fighting against CPUs and not real people. Real people make decisions on the fly. You see a gamer in Fortnite and take a shot at him. As soon as he is hit, bam, 3-story mansion, 10 bed, 7.5 bath, built in seconds. In Call of Duty, you have to deal with the sweats that drop shot and sprint cancel and nut tap and whatever the meta is at this point. In Apex Legends, you better be a Deadeye or you lose. Not to mention all the gamer shit talking that goes on.
Hey, quiet on that side now, isn't it, boy? Listen to you fat f***ing redneck sitting in front of your goddamn Connect mic with your nuts hanging out of one side of your shorts. Shut the f***.
Real people are unpredictable, but the CPUs in games are programmed and have limited moves and attacks that they can perform. That alone is a big reason why online games will always be harder than a single-player game. The type of variables in online games compared to single player are vastly different, and quite honestly, the only variable that really matters and changes in single player games is you. That brings me to my first tip and probably the biggest reason why people struggle with hard video games. Learn to play the video game. Understanding game mechanics and how the devs intend for you to interact with their games can be directly linked to the amount of fun you will have with a video game, whether it's a Souls game or not. There were many times when playing video games early on in my life that I'd just give up and quit a game. Most of the time, the reason being that I wasn't having fun because I was bad at the game. This can more often than not be attributed to the fact that I mashed through dialogue, skipped tutorials, and never really learned how to play the game. I played through my first legit Pokemon game about 4 or 5 years ago, Let's Go Eevee. To literally everyone that has played Pokemon, they would say that this is an easy baby game, and I was struggling hard due to the fact that I didn't understand the rock, paper, scissors aspect of how Pokemon battle systems work. I kept trying to smash everything with my Eevee, and it worked for a while, but eventually the game caught up to me, and I hit a wall. Cole, the true Pokemon master in my life, sent me the type chart, and my world was changed forever. Not only did I learn how to play rock, paper, scissors, I also started having way more fun because I was engaging with the game the way the devs intended for me to. I know you've never played Xenoblade Chronicles before, and let me tell you, shame on you. You should play it. There is no doubt on the outside looking in, Xenoblade, and probably most RPGs for that matter, can be very overwhelming. Xenoblade is one of those games where when you understand the mechanics and how to build a character, it becomes so much more fun. A lot of the game relies on the gems that grant you stat boosts and arts to perform combos and deal lots of damage. Before I really got a grasp on any of this, I was just bullshitting my way through the game until once again the game caught up with me and I hit a skill check. Luckily for me, I had Cole, once again, come to my rescue and guide me on how to play. Plus, he showed me a bunch of tutorial videos from the Xenoblade University of Enel. I watched all the videos and understood all the different systems from arts to gems to skill trees. While learning how to play a video game, it is perfectly acceptable to look up videos on how to do certain things or how certain mechanics work. Sometimes games can be hard to understand from just tutorials and text alone. A perfect example of something that isn't very simple to understand in Xenoblade is the gem crafting. There's lots of different things to look at and worry about. I watched one of Enel's videos and completely understood it to where I can craft any gem I want. Yes, I save scum, and that's okay. Charla and Ricky F it up, and then you do a bunch of to you to me's with the bromance. Boom, gems. In Souls games, one of the most important mechanics is dodge rolling, which also comes down to timing. I feel like most people that play and quit Souls games didn't really understand this concept, and to be fair, these games don't give great tutorials on how important it is. It's very important. Like the whole game is dodge rolling, unless you're a parry god. I didn't understand this mechanic when I first started playing. The idea of rolling into my opponent did not make sense to me. Most games I've played up to that point, enemies had hitboxes. Avoid that at all costs. Now in Dark Souls, you're telling me it's okay to dodge into an enemy, that I can dodge through an enemy's sword swing? That is where iframes or invincibility frames come into play. Once again, I watched a few videos that gave great tips and tricks, and bam, I was Sonic the Hedgehog rolling all over the ground. Your character build is very important too, and understanding that aspect of any RPG is a must. Learning what all the stats mean and what builds fit your playstyle will also contribute to the amount of fun you have. The best part about Dark Souls is taking said build you've crafted and slaying big bad bosses. This is fundamentally the most important part in Dark Souls, is putting together everything you've learned up to this point and fighting a boss, or more specifically, reading the boss's movesets. Every boss you fight in Souls games has different moves and different timings. Some bosses are slower, while others are super aggressive. The key to defeating any boss is learning their moves and figuring out when you can attack, how many hits you can get in, and when you can be more aggressive and when you need to be more defensive. It may take you 10 plus tries of fighting a boss before you've seen every move and can counter the boss. Once again, I bring up the fact that you are facing off against a CPU that has limited programmed attacks. Not StickyWeen69 who has 10,000 hours of Sombra and doesn't even let you play the damn game! The fact that the CPUs have limited programmable, predictable moves is how speedrunners can completely rip games apart to the point where they can do deathless runs or no-hit runs, or dance pad runs, or Guitar Hero guitar runs, or blindfolded runs, or no-run runs. The bosses will always do the same moves over and over again in the same boss arena, with you being the only variable. Read the boss's moves and counterattack. Hollow Knight and Hollow Knight Silksong are the same exact way. Learn the boss's moves and attack when you get your chance. Be patient and stick it out for the long haul. Some fights could be upwards of 3+ minutes of you dodging and attacking back. There isn't much more fun than dodging a huge combo attack from a boss and then you deliver one of your own combos back. With each new attempt at a boss, you can see yourself improve and get better. You see your progress of making it to different phases of a boss or seeing their health bar go down. Use each death as a learning experience, and once again, if you are still stuck or aren't able to figure out the boss's moves, watch some videos and see what tips and tricks other people give. In regards to games that don't have difficulty sliders like Hollow Knight or Souls games, one of the best quotes I've heard about them goes something along the lines of this: "These games have a hidden difficulty slider called exploration." I saw this in a YouTube short specifically talking about Silksong, and I can't remember the channel, but I couldn't agree more. Maybe you enter a boss fight that you just aren't ready for yet, so you leave and explore. You find health upgrades, weapon upgrades, silk upgrades, maybe you buy the right charm you need, and you head back to the boss fight, and you're able to completely dunk on him. With all that being said, I'm more specifically talking about the base game of most of these video games, because a lot of the times DLC that the devs will add will be completely and utterly ridiculous for any casual gamer like myself to beat. Ones that come to mind are like Hollow Knight doing the Pantheon, that is absolutely insane. Another one is the Celeste DLCs. I've seen way too many speedruns of that and it just looks impossibly difficult. Dark Souls 2 has a notoriously hard DLC. There's lots of other side bosses in Dark Souls throughout all the series that are ridiculous and are not required to beat the game. So most of the time when I'm talking about this, I'm specifically talking about base game required content, because the devs put a lot of stuff in there for people that love these games and dump hundreds, if not thousands of hours into them. I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend another 100 hours trying to get so good at Hollow Knight that I can beat the Pantheon and Absolute Radiance. I'm perfectly okay with just beating the base game of any video game. It's already a hard enough challenge, and like I said, I'm not willing to put in all the hundreds of hours to get even better, to complete whatever challenge that the devs have put in there. But if you are one of those people, good on you. You're probably a speedrunner. Video games are probably my favorite thing on planet Earth, and there is no better feeling than overcoming a hard boss or area I've been stuck on for a while. Conquering whatever said obstacle is shoots that good chemicals right into my brain. And that's really why I wanted to make this video. I know hard games aren't for everyone, but if I would have given up on some of these games, I would have missed out on some of my most cherished gaming moments. Some of my favorite games of all time are these hard video games. They put my skills to the test on so many different levels, and as cheesy as it sounds, they remind me that I can do hard things. Sure, it's just a silly game, and there are way more important hard things out there I will inevitably encounter in my life. But if I can do hard things, you can too.